Hello, and welcome to 4 Minutes to Explore, visualizing your Google Spreadsheets. Today, we're going to use Explore Analytics, the cloud-based self-service business intelligence tool, to visualize the data within Google Spreadsheets. Google Spreadsheets provides a great way to store and manage data, but it can be light on ways to explore and visualize the data yourself. So for today's video, we're taking this sample spreadsheet of survey results. Our business has been collecting our customers, asking them to rate us in a few different areas, and we've collected information about what credit cards they use and where in the world they're from. It's great data, but right now it's just a flat list. Let's use Explore Analytics to turn it into some meaningful visualizations. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to see what information we can tease out of this data. The first step is we need to connect Explore Analytics to Google Spreadsheet. So I'm going to switch over to Explore Analytics, and we're going to import a Google Spreadsheet. The first step in this process is it's going to ask me in Google to provide permission for this. And once that's done, I can select which Google spreadsheet to import. So I'm going to select this survey results. It's going to ask me if I want to rename the table or make any changes. I can do that now or later on. So right now I'm just going to click OK, and it's going to create the table and import the data. So we've imported that. Now let's create our first view. Congratulations, we've brought in the information from Google Spreadsheets to Explore Analytics, and now we're ready to start visualizing it. Right now we're looking at it as a list, which we could have done in Google Spreadsheets, so let's start to slice and dice this from a pivot perspective. With a multi-level pivot, I can just drag and drop to look at this data in a few different ways. Right now it's just showing me a count that there are 124 survey responses. So let's add a new value to look at, which is the overall ranking that those surveys gave us. And we want to look at the average. What was the average rating that our customers gave us? So now we can see that the average rating was 3.395, which is good, not great. So let's see if we can find out a little bit more. I have a number of different ways I could break this down, but let's take a look at how people responded by region. So you'll notice that more people responded from EMEA and also gave us on average a higher rating. That's very interesting. Just by dragging and dropping, we can take a look at that. Now that I know this, let's take a look and see if it's changed over time. So the timestamp represents the time aspect of these surveys. I'm going to drag that onto the columns, and I'm going to say, let's look at this by year. As you can see, I could break it down by quarter or month or even multiple levels. But for right now, let's just look at it year over year. I click OK, and now I can see 2011, 2012, and 2013, the 3 years that we ran this survey, and those average results. And what I can see across the bottom is that the average rating overall has increased over those 3 years, although not necessarily uniformly in every region. So you can see that just by dragging and dropping and adding new areas to this pivot, I can get further in or further out from this data. So let's start visualizing and taking a look at this in a more visual perspective. I'm going to click to switch over to this chart view, and from here the type of chart I'd like to look at is a map chart, to look at this geographically across the world. I could look at a timeline or break it down by category or do an XY, but because we have a geographical aspect to this data, I'm going to do that from over here. So we're going to do a geographical area so that we can see the values on the map as overlaid over the nations that we're looking at, and I'm going to use the country code to break this down. And for the value, again, we want to look at that overall rank as an average, the way we were looking at it before. And so now I can see on the map in a very visual way which countries view us the highest, which according to the legend are areas like France, the United Kingdom, and Mexico, and the places that are not so high, like the US and Canada. But let's say I also wanted to look at this from a time perspective while still looking at it this way. I'm going to go to Animation, and I'm going to say, let's look at that as a timestamp from year to year. So now I have this drop down, or I can play it as an animation to see how did this actually change from year to year between 2011 and 2013. Thank you for joining. That was just a quick view of just a little bit of the power that you can get visualizing with Explore Analytics. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to our website, exploreanalytics.com, or sign up for a free trial and try it with your own Google Spreadsheets today.